So, question. Would you guys say that your belief structure is a search for the truth, or would you say it's more based on how you came up and you just don't want to let those traditions go?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. So I think there's difference for me personally. I think in the beginning, for me was you grew up that way, right? I grew up Catholic, went to church. My buddies, came here to America. They went to church. It was more of a hangout. Really didn't learn anything about the faith, or I really wasn't practicing it at all. I just went to church because that's where my buddies hung out. So I think it was just, monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. I think it probably only when I got into my 30s, just some things happened. And I think, as you become an adult and with family and stuff like that, you're like, okay, you know what, where am I going? Where is my anchor? Where, how am I going to see this world? And then I started searching, and I got into, this little it's called apologetics. So, just kind of really figuring out why I believe what I believe. And in all honesty, in going through it, I could truly say I did not want Christianity to be true. Like, I do not want it to be true.
What do you mean by that?
So I don't like, so Christianity, or being a Christ follower, for what it entails, like, Will, you kind of know this because you kind of grew up with this. It's you really have to die to self, right? You have to say no to yourself and follow a higher standard, a higher being. And that gets in the way of just, wanting what I want, when I want, how I want it, to be honest with you. I tend to be selfish and, prideful and all the above, right? And so my faith is not conducive to that, right? So if I could say yes to all those things that I want, but I have to lay those aside and follow the truth, which is being a Christ follower, which is Christ, which is God. So to me, like, and you see some of these guys, I don't know, everybody's different, but you see them on the internet or talking, on how Christianity has done this and that. And I think to a certain extent, it has helped me in certain instances in my life. But to be honest, if I'm being really honest here, yeah, man, it gets in the way. Like, and I think during that search, I came in where I really did not want it to be true. That's why I watched all these debates, and I was just hoping for, like a knockdown argument. In all honesty, there hasn't been, like, for me personally, there hasn't been a knockdown argument on either side, right? It's not like, oh, 100% all this. I think, to me, I definitely lean towards there is a God, because I feel like there's more evidence there. Am I 100%? Probably not, right? I'm definitely not 100%. I could say that. But I feel like I am reasonable and justified in holding my position and believing in God. But yeah.
So you would say that it is a search for truth. Like, you feel like you're on the path to truth.
Right.
Okay. Right. Will?
Sam, what percent? You say you're not 100%. What percent would you put your belief at?
I mean, it's so hard to quantify. I mean, you pick a day, it could be 51%, and on some days it could be like 83.6%. To be, I'm being facetious, but I have doubts. I really have. Sometimes sure. I have some doubts. Like, I'll be listening to something or hearing something, and I'm going to say some Christianese stuff here, but like, sometimes my flesh gets in the way, and I want to do stuff that I'm like, well, I know I'm not supposed to be doing, or I'm not, and so sometimes I'm like, I can't do it, or I want to do it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have doubts from, I wouldn't say day to day, but, I definitely have some doubts where, I have some ups and downs. I don't think those doubts come as much, and they're not as severe, just because I feel like the more and more I know about why I am a Christian, the more and more you study what the Bible is and what it's not, just all the evidence that for God, and then the rebuttals against that, just all of that. I feel like that kind of secures up here. Like, okay, you know what? I think I know, I feel pretty reasonable. I feel pretty confident, right? That I am where I'm supposed to be, right? I am thinking right. I am justified in believing that there is a God. So, but yeah, from day to day, it fluctuates.
All right. Well, so you feel like you said you are on a journey of seeking truth. I guess you're in a better place now than before you were searching. Would you say that?
In what ways? Like, in what ways? When you say I'm in a better place,
it's worth denying the flesh to be a Christ follower and continue on your journey.
Yeah. So to me, right. So I'll give you an example, right? I mean, I have 3 kids, 3 teenagers, and part of and again, this is my personality, right? So part of my flesh is to be prideful. Let's say if I spoke to him in a certain way or done this, that, or the other, my initial reaction is to be, prideful. I'm the father. I'm this, and that, and the other. I provide all of this, and and act that way. But then, I'm reminded how what Christ has done, right? So I'm reminded of my faith and what Jesus has done. So I'm like, okay, well, so if this guy had, he's all powerful, he could have done everything and anything, and he could have been justified in doing that. He laid down his life, he humbled himself. I surely can do that, right? And so, yeah, I have to go back to my kids and, be open, honest, and transparent and say, look, the way I acted is not right. I was prideful, and here's how I was prideful. So I had those conversations with them, and I have to apologize and ask for their forgiveness and humble myself because I was wrong. I think for me personally, so whether I do that with my kids, with my friends, with my wife, yeah, I think in those, right off the top of my head, in those instances, that has helped me. Now, am I perfect in that? No, right? Absolutely not. And I fail literally day to day, but I think I try to be as consistent as possible in going back and saying, hey, you know what? I've done X, Y, and Z. I've made this mistake. And I shouldn't be doing that. I'm sorry, please forgive me, so on and so forth. I think Christianity, for me, in believing that is consistent with what I'm believing, if that makes sense, right? For me to do that is consistent with my faith, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, so to be an atheist doesn't really give you a set of a structure on how to live. It just means you don't believe in a supernatural being. What I am is a secular humanist. All right, so there's a ton of overlap between secular humanism and Christianity in your case. So to be a secular humanist means the secular part means non-religious. The humanist part means you want to improve humanity in whatever way, little or big. You just want to help your fellow humans, your society. You want to leave it a better place when you're gone, basically. So I do that with a secular mindset. All right, not for a reward, not to avoid hell, but because I genuinely want to help my fellow human beings. So similar journey, right? It's just that I'm not taking my cues from Christ. Now, somebody could kind of parse my life and say, well, if you didn't grow up Christian, you developed these morals as a kid, and that therefore It's still Christ's influence on your life now.
Mhm.
We can have a conversation about it, right? There's no way to prove or disprove that, but it is who I am now. All right, secular humanism. So that's what I do in my day-to-day life, but I feel less burdened in my day-to-day life. Right, these sins of the flesh or things that are considered sins in the Bible have no sway on me. They don't give me heartburn.
Right.
Because, and again, I don't believe in karma either. It's just that I'm doing good on this earth, and it's not like, oh, I'm doing good, so therefore I can masturbate, or I can get drunk tonight. It's not like I'm not trying. It's like I'm earning it. It's just that they're not sins to me. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm being responsible, so I can enjoy the pleasures of the flesh, as the Bible says. Describes it. And you're right, to be prideful, to be overbearing to your kids or whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to call it sin, but it's not good to do. But if you recognize it, yeah, I've had those same conversations with my girls. They're a little older now, or they're young adults, but yeah, you feel bad, you feel sorry for something you said or out of anger. Yeah, I've done those same things, but again, because I recognize that I hurt my girls, or I did something I should not have. So that's just kind of the take. That's from my take. You call it, Mac, you called it seeking the truth. For me, it's just day to day trying to make this world a better place.
Okay. So can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask you a quick question? Well, and I think I've talked to Mac about this. So, like, I understand your position where you're basically saying, look, I basically, what you're saying, like, I read this, it says improving humanity, help make it a better place. And I think any Christian would probably agree with that, right? I would be stupid not to. So I think I agree with all of that stuff. I think where I would want to not even understand even more, right? Not question or this gotcha moment, is the fact that to me, it's the consistency in your logic and the thinking.